Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm Cycle, and this is Let's Play Train Simulator, and as you can see, my list has grown a little bit. We now have a few extra items on here that I was able to get my hands on. We'll ignore Merco Island, that's a workshop route, so we'll ignore that for now. But you can see that I've got some extra stuff here. BNSF Heritage 1 has now shown up on my list. Obviously, I've had the GP38 already. I have an SD40 Type 2, and I think there was one more on here as well. I could be mistaken. No, there's the SD40 Burlington Northern. That is a different SD40, I believe. So I do have some BNSF stuff in here now besides just the Route and the GP38. So I do have some other. Oh, there's Heritage 3 sitting in here as well. So I got so basically what I've unlocked here, basically 2 of the SD40 Type 2 packs. And I also managed to pick up another one as well, which I can't say I identify from here. I think it's the S44DC no, that's actually that comes with the route. Sorry, that comes with the route. But there is one more model that was not included with the route that I have unlocked here as well. I just can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but I know there are 4, and I'm only naming 3 right now, so I'm missing one of them. I'll figure it out later. But in any case, the next snare I was thinking of doing was Blackfoot or Bust, which is over in the career tab. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, because that's the only one left. And if I go down here, by the way, I want to point out this scenario. This is normally a co-op scenario, and it's listed as 120 minutes, but I reviewed the information for this hauling the harvest grain. It looks like the scenario is scheduled to take about 5.5 hours. So it looks like it's a full drive across the map from what I can tell. And it's typically done in co-op mode. It was a co-op scenario. I clicked the button to make it a standard scenario. I have no idea how that scenario is going to work. I'm going to try to figure that out before I actually broadcast, because I want to be able to tell you what it is we're doing here as well. So I'll try to figure that out before we get going. But in the meantime, assuming that I can't do this, I only have the one scenario left from where I was passed from the original set of 7, not counting that hauling the harvest grain. You may remember, again, hauling the harvest grain did not appear here last time when I was looking at the menu, so it was not there previously. So again, I clicked the button in TS Tools, we'll see what happens. I don't know if it'll work or not. It might only give me the first 2 hours, that might be the end of the scenario, so we'll see. In any case, Blackfoot Bus is the only remaining ES44DC that I have on my list. I want to do something with the switcher, because the switcher, and again, we already did one scenario in the switcher here with the training basics on that training basics scenario, but I want to do something else with that switcher because there's 3 other scenarios, one of which also is a career mode, and that one of those is I'm a Lumberjack, then we have Shelby Grain Assembly. The last one, and this is the one that's in career mode, is Wood from Kalispell. So that has a career version, which we're going to look. And there's actually no other trains in that scenario, interestingly. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's a single line, I don't know. But in any case, we'll look at that one last because it is a career scenario. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably do I'm a Lumberjack and Shelby Grain Assembly. And then I'm going to move back to the BNSF ES44DC. I'll do Blackfoot or Bust, and I'll head back down to Wood from Kalispell. After that, I'm probably not going to go into the other DLC items right away, whether they be the SD38, the SD40s, or whatever other item I have unlocked there, which I think is the ES44AC. I could be wrong, but I'll look at that later. What I'm going to do is once I've gotten to the end of the original scenarios, I'm going to go back to my original plans, which at this point look like Cahoon Pass is what I had coming up next. So we're going to do that next. I'll talk about that later. For right now, let's get into the first of these scenarios. And this is in the manual scenario number 5. I'm a Lumberjack, 60 minutes. I guess we're transporting logs. Let's get going. We're headed for Columbia Yard, but a stacked train has been given priority. This will hold us at the switches ahead for a short period. Proceed when you can. Your task list indicates the movements and car exchanges required before heading back up to Whitefish. So yeah, I kind of told you about this earlier. In fact, I literally just played it, so I know I literally just told you about this earlier. This is a scenario where we came from Whitefish. We're bringing some cars down. We're going to pick up some more cars. We're going to head back. And we already know that this train that's ahead of us, hello, we already know this train ahead of us was given priority. So unfortunately for this guy and anyone else coming along, he's going to be waiting for us for a little while. Sorry guys, nothing I can do about it. Just regular business, don't mind it. Okay, let's get looking the other way in the cab, thank you very much. Let's turn the wipers on. Let's bring the HUD up and let's get ourselves set up. We have to go in reverse, by the way. I'm going to show you why. Not that, that's the front. So, the 3456 and on the other engine, the 3464, that is the back of the unit. So if you want to go in the direction you need to go into reverse. That is why I went ahead and put it into minus 100%, because you're going to see, it looks like at this point, when I release and hit the throttle, it appears that we are moving forward in reverse. So this is actually reversing we have to do on the switcher. Keep this in mind that the setup of the unit, that's, like I said, that's the front of the train. This is the back of the train. And as you can see, the engineer's facing away from us. So yeah, that's what we're dealing with here. So remember that when you're doing a scenario like this, the reverser is basically reversed. Ironically, as enough as that sounds. So we know that we have a red straight ahead because the other train going in the same direction has priority. Let's go, in fact, check on that train for a moment. Going to center on where we are. You can see that train has definitely moved ahead a bit now. The red signal, it's actually coming, it hasn't even crossed the track yet. So basically it's crossing the track right here. That's the crossing point. That's the red signal we're going to have to wait for. So it looks like it's far down the track now, but it's actually not that far down. But once it gets past this signal completely, then we're going to get a yellow at that point. We're going to be good to go. So we have to wait for it to pass that signal to get our full access. Let's go ahead and put a little more speed on because we might be going too slowly at this point. We don't have a timetable on this, so we're good to do this however we need to do it. Let's keep that in mind too. So we should only go fast enough to stop on sight. .30 is good enough for now. See, the signal is coming up ahead. I figured it was going to be soon that it showed up on the HUD. Which means we need a blow horn. Don't forget the whistle boards. So we're going to zoom in for a moment. We can see the signal ahead is still completely red. So let's keep our binoculars out and you're going to see the signal change as soon as we are able to pass it. At the same time, if it doesn't change a reasonable amount of time, I know I have to come to a stop here. I'm trying to avoid having to stop, which is why I only went to about half speed. Kind of human they didn't start us on the move, actually. That would have been probably a good thing to do. So you're going to notice the signal on the right is going to turn red. Right now it has a yellow signal, but it's going to turn red. I'm going to hit the brakes as we're coming in a little too quickly here. I expected it to change by now. I'm actually a little disappointed that it hasn't. I don't need the binoculars anymore. I can see it's coming on. We're going to have to come to a stop. I expected to have the right of way by now. So we have to wait. There it is. Notice the, I'm going to pause there for a second. Notice that right now all ways are closed. The dispatcher at 12:05:50 marks that signal off. No way forward. Ours is going to turn on in about a second later. There it is. 2 seconds. So now we're allowed to get going again. Took you long enough. You could have figured that out sooner. And it's probably going to start flashing in a moment too to show that we're now aimed for the siding because it has to change to show the siding is our destination. There it is. So now the siding is our stop. So if we had gone past that red signal unwittingly, we would have found that the junction was set against us. We would have been unable to proceed. We would have actually derailed. It would have ended the scenario. That is if you didn't already have the scenario end by passing a red signal. Being a standard scenario might not. Looks like there's another train coming. This train also had to wait for the train that was given priority over us. That's probably why it was given priority. So CLB, what WHI 92 is now going by with a little lag. And I see the signal coming up. Since it's going to be turning us into the yard, I'm going to go ahead and just stop gaining speed at this point. There's no reason to increase. I think we have a 20 limit in the yard. Might be 15. I might drop to 15 just to be safe. So you can see that we are being junctioned into our first yard stop here. That's going to be for the drop off. Just note again, this is the front of the train. This is the back of the train. Remember, we're reversed in this scenario. Now you notice there's no speed marked on the HUD, but I believe it is a 20, possibly a 15 in the yard. So I'm dropping the speed very significantly just to be safe. And I dropped more than I wanted to. So temporary throttle boost to go ahead and make sure we don't lose too much speed. You know, leave the throttle at 12%. I slowed down a little quicker than I intended to. So we're just going to keep at this point because I want to make sure I maintain speed in the yard. Well, it's not really a yard, more like a few sidings, but there's enough to make it a yard. So it is showing the red-green. We are going straight through. There is no end of track on these yards, so you actually could theoretically continue through the yard if you had the clearance. So that's why it's not a flashing red. If you had a flashing red, it probably would be saying you're going to have a track that ends eventually, the way that you're sectioned. It actually is 20 on the yard, so I'm going to go ahead and not brake. I'm going to go ahead and increase speed for a moment so we can get a little bit more oomph out of our train in this yard. At this point, I will now coast. Is good enough, as you can probably tell from my decision-making skills. You see some cars ahead. We'll talk about those in a minute. We're about to make our stop. We're now making our stop. know, I can brake just a little more, ladies and gentlemen, please. You can come to a stop anytime, guy. There we go. So once it stops, we have to keep our engines, but as you can see in the task, 546132 is the first thing we're taking off. There it is right there, the first car right there. We're going to go ahead and detach that. Bye-bye. Good, now drive ahead to siding 3201 east. You may need to manually set the points for it. Let's find out. We did not need to manually set the points for it, but it's always is good to check, and that's what they're reminding you, that you should always check. So the points are set. Now we're going to use the bell because we are in the yard. We're doing movements around the yard, so we want people to know where we are. And that should be good enough to come to a stop now. So since we are already on the way to our stop, we're going to go ahead and just watch the train stop here. Oh, we didn't actually go far enough. Let's try that again. We did not go far enough. I need to go into the actual section ahead. That's my mistake. We have to actually stop at Columbia Falls 3201 East. So let's go a little bit further. While we inch forward just as much as we need to, I will set the switch because we're going to go in that direction in a moment. So once we hit the section, that'll do. We'll put the reverser in the other direction. And for right now, I'm going to go ahead and stay in this cab until we connect to the next set of cars, because at that point it'll make more sense to change cabs. There's our check mark, and we can take off. Boy, I jumped to speed there for a second, didn't I? So we took our via point there. We've now gone past that, and we're now going to continue to couple two cars that we're going to see in a moment coming on the, well, it's going to be more than a moment, but cars coming on the top line here, our left, on the top line. So you can see we're going to be coupling to those 5 cars at the top. It doesn't center correctly on where they're located, but trust me, they're on the top line there. It does say 3203, and notice the top line we're coming up on now is 3203. So that's definitely what we're going to be connecting to. Watch for the, oh, there's the indicator. That indicator lines up correctly, the other one doesn't. It always points to the center of the yard regardless of where the cars are. There's the cars. I'll start slowing down now because I know I'm going to be stopping to go back and pick those up. And we're almost at the end of the yard anyway. If we did check the back of the train, by the way, you notice we do have the green to leave, so all is well back there. Oh, don't stop, don't stop. No, no, no. Don't do that. Too bad I can't just pick up the train and move to the other track now, huh? That'd be kind of cool. So we're fully past the signal light now. We should see it in our, there it is. So we're going to eventually be crossing the junction here, and when we do, that's when we're going to stop. Let's watch it and see if we can see it change. We're not far enough yet, actually. This is the one I think we want right here. In any case, we have to stop anyway. And actually, it is changed. I did see it already. So the train's going to come back in this direction in just a second. Whoa. He's dead. So this line that we're taking now, this is going to be our way out. Getting a little bit of a speed decrease here, but not completely. I need to maintain about a mile here to get back far enough to connect. So we're going to let it go now. Let's just let this go so you can watch it come in. Now, it doesn't make sense to stay in this cab right now, so because if we stay in this cab, what's literally going to happen is we're going to be driving from the middle of the train. Like that, this is the, now we're at the front of the train, but that second cab is the one that we're in. So we need to make our way into the front cab now. So we're going to do that by going back in here, hitting the F4 HUD, and doing this. There's the front. Okay, so this is where we want to be now. Let's turn the wipers on this one. By the way, I forgot to actually turn everything off in this. The reverser needs to be centered in this. That is off. I don't think I have headlights on, but let's go back to the other cab. Let's make sure our headlights are on. There they are. So we're good for that. Let's set the reverser into the other direction. We're going to let these brakes off. That's the wrong direction, actually. And we're going to let the gas go on. Back to the other HUD. You can see we are indeed going backwards. So that's the direction we want to go. And now this is the back of the train again, of course. The front of the train again, rather. So this is once again the front of the train. So again, everything is back in reverse. What can you do? You can hear that bell, by the way. The only thing I know is that there is a crossing up there somewhere. I'm trying to get an eyesight on it, but I can't really see it through the train. You can see the crossing there, though, behind the train. So we're going to... It's not really... It doesn't really mean anything right now because we're on the wrong side, but let's blow the whistle for it. I was a little early, so I'm going to do it again. Yeah, it was too early, but we'll just treat it as a warning. So you can see one street does go off in that direction. The car is going to just keep going straight. No car has ever seemed to take this path, unfortunately. And that one's also at the end of a road. So yeah, this is just a little crossing track between the two roads. That's all this is. I heard a whistle. Did you hear that? That was not me. I did not push that. Oh, I should have the bells on. I did have the bells on, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Brakes. Brakes. At this point, it's not braking. I'm going to crash. Should be fine now. is. We're good to go. On the return to Whitefish, we'll be stopping in Half Moon Yard as well. Make sure you clear the signals before reversing into the yard. Bit of a heavy train now. A little bit heavier to get moving now, isn't it? 75% throttle, we're not really getting anywhere. So for those keeping score at home, this is the third time we're passing these cars. If you had 3 on your bingo card, you may now cross it off. And I've cut the throttle off completely because we're at 20. You can see straight ahead that we do indeed have the green signal to leave the yard. In fact, it was like that as we backed into our train for whatever odd reason. It was already like that as we backed in the train. So if there was an AI train in there waiting, as we left, it would have actually been running into us. That's how wonky that would have been. So once our train is completely clear of the yard, we can go ahead and give her the biscuit. Once I clear the yard, this is a good time to turn off the bell as well at that point. Give it a couple seconds. You know what? I think we have the other one on. Let's change cabs for a second. You know what? I don't think I can turn that bell off. Minor annoyance. I can't turn the bell off. You're going to have to live with that for the whole scenario, guys. Sorry. Something got screwed up. I'll keep trying. What is still clanging? I don't know what is still clanging, but notice that both bells are off. If I turn it on... Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I honestly don't have a clue. Unless I detach the entire train and reset the bell on the one engine, I can't figure out what's going on with that. So there's nothing I can really do about that, guys. Back in the front cab. We're just going to have to live with that the whole way. So, oh well, what can you do? Try and do things properly. Of course, the game decides it wants to mess up on us again. What can we do? Well, we're going to have to live with that all the way to Half Moon Yard. And once I get to Half Moon Yard and I'm stopped to go into Half Moon Yard, I'll try to detach the engine for a moment and figure out if if I can turn that racket of a bell off. At that point, I'm just going to leave it off till we... And at this point, I might even just say forget about it in the other yard. Because at that point, who cares? Now, even though we're in a 60-mile-per-hour speed area, you're going to notice the Half Moon Yard is not too far away. Why is it called Half Moon Yard? Well, look at that. There you go. That's why it's called Half Moon. So we're going via Columbia Falls, Maine 2, which is exactly what we're doing, but we have no other signals until we reach the yard. So we're basically at this point about you can actually see on the marker we're about a tenth of a mile from the current spot coming up here, this thing. And then we're going to be 2 miles away from Half Moon Lumber. It's called Half Moon Lumber. That's actually why it's called Half Moon Yard, because it's called Half Moon Lumber. Jeez, that bell's annoying right now. Soon. It'll be over soon. Excuse me. I'll take my headset off for a second. I see I missed another crossing there, but oh well. The bells are on. I'm already having enough noise with that. I'm not going to blow the horns too. And for that, I would be fired as an engineer if I was spotted doing that. So what can you do? There's a whistle board. This is where we started, by the way. So it looks like signals ahead. Those are the signals I do want to be concerned about. So I'm going to start braking. Actually, let's do that. Then we'll start braking. See the track coming and join. So slowing down is definitely a valid concern right now. So now that we've passed that, I'm going to look at the end of the train, which is the part that is going to pass the signal last. I'm really going to start hitting those brakes now. So you can see it's now past the track. As that train passes the track, I'm going to go to a very, very heavy brake application. You can actually see the junction is going to change to tell us that we're going in the yard. There it is. But we came through way too fast, so we're going to have a little bit of extra space to cover here. Some extra ground. So this junction is now set for us to cross over. But as you can see, we're still going forward. Turn that racket off. I'm just going to stay at the back of the train because that horn is getting a little annoying at this point. Okay, let's reverse. We've got a little bit of ground to cover here to get to our yard entry point, but we know the limit is 10 in the yard, so I'm going to use the extra space to make sure we are at around 10 and stay around 10. Oh, no, let's keep going a little faster. Thank you. Nine and a half is good enough. Let's cut the throttle off. And let's zip ahead to show you what the Half Moon Lumber area looks like. We're going to come into here. You can see all the logs over here, so it's kind of clear they work on lumber over here. You're going to see a bunch of pallets over here as well. So that's one of their products. You're going to see more pallets. Basically, that's their products. Wood. And you can see the whole building area back here. The cars we're picking up are these ones, so I'm going to kind of just hang around over here and watch the train come in, because these are the cars we're going to be picking up as we come around this little half moon. So we're going to hang out here for a little while. Let's go ahead and make sure we are at 10. You can see the train coming from in distance right there. Let's turn over here. You can see the train popping over. So there it is with the end of train indicator lit up there. It's backing in. So someone's probably radioing right now saying, oh, the train's here. Go down and help them. Okay, roger. So as we reach the junction, I'm going to get down to 5 before I cross the junction because we don't have a lot of space to go after the junction. So I'm going to get down to 5 around the junction, I think, is what I'm kind of aiming for. No more. Come on. Brakes. Brakes. Taking their sweet time now, aren't they? Oh, now they're going too fast, of course. Finicky, finicky things here, aren't they? They're just finicky, finicky things. Excuse me. I'm hearing something on my TV, so I'm going to actually make sure my door is closed before we take off again. Okay, let's solve this bell problem very quickly as well. If my train will stop. I said if my train will stop. Thank you. Thank you very much. So here's the bell. We're still having problems. So let's go ahead and... We're not going to get penalized anyway because we don't have a career scenario. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this for a second. There we go. And... okay, let's reconnect if I can. Maybe. 3406 is now the only engine. That is actually kind of funny. What am I driving right now? You're joking. No, 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 no. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Wrong way, wrong way. What are you doing? This is the reverser I want. What is going on? Oh, I see the problem. I'm trying to... I actually am trying to reverse. This is not good. Forward I want to go now. All this to fix a bloody bell. All this to fix a bell, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's try and get back in the front of this thing, shall we? Brakes, brakes, thank you. Reverse you, brakes, brakes. Let's get back to the front cab somehow. There we are. I should be in that cab now. I should be... No, I'm not. Okay, what's going on here? There we go. Let's try to get out of here, shall we? The bell is off. So it's working fine again. That's the good news. So let's do this. Reverse, and we should be able to get out of here. Now, note if this was a career scenario, ladies and gentlemen, you'd be stuck with that bell the whole way. There's nothing you can do in that circumstance. Because if you disconnect the train like I did, you'd be penalized. In our case, nothing happens. We just keep going. That's it. I'm going to take the opportunity to go make sure my door is shut. So, you'll be on your own for a second here, guys. Don't mind me while I just quickly get up and shut the door. Try not to make too much noise here either. I am back. There we go. This one, I might as well stay standing for a minute, so you're going to hear me a little different angle here for a minute. So, we are proceeding out of the yard. I'm standing at the controls, waiting to punch this puppy up a bit. Do not take that literally. I would not punch a puppy. I'm referring to a train as a puppy. Thank you very much. Next thing I know, I'm going to have people complaining on YouTube that I'm promoting violence against puppies. I would do no such thing. No such thing, sir. Or ma'am. We should cross into 60 in just a moment. There it is. Took a little more than a moment. Let's get our coupling view off. We want to see the track. That's actually that was the track. Whoops. Confusion mounts. We're not gaining that much speed doing this actually. Let's go to 100% throttle. And this is equivalent to what I meant by punching the puppy up. What do you mean I should stop using that term? Okay, fine. Try to have a little fun. By the way, did you see that mile marker? We're in the 1200s. This is one long track. And we only see a small part of it. Even on Montana's, it's only a small part of it. You want to see the entire route? Stand by for about 15 years of development and, I don't know, about a couple $1,000. That's what it's going to take. And that would mean they can't develop any other routes in the UK or Germany or anywhere else that might actually be interesting. So yeah, you're not going to ever see the whole route. Not properly scenery and set up for stuff anyway. Anyone can just lay the tracks on the ground, obviously following Google Maps, but that's the easy part. The hard part is doing everything else with it. What's our distance to our stop? We have a stop coming up, 1.5 miles, so I'll go ahead and maintain speed a little while longer, but we are going to have to hit the brakes soon. Nothing up ahead in the next 3/4 of a mile, which is about half of our remaining distance. But we are soon going to see something cross in that we're going to have to listen to. There it is. That's a 20, by the way. And it's coming in fairly fast, so I'm going to be looking to slow down very shortly. Notice the 15 behind it. We're being junctioned off the main line, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure we don't speed here if we can help it. There's no penalty points or anything like that, but you know, you want to follow the proper railroad rules. Drop it down, guys. Come on. Okay, so we're down for 20. Let's go ahead and just take it down for 15 now. There we go. Oh, almost. So close. So close. I mean, we're good for the 20, but we're so close on the 15. We're actually gaining speed again, which I didn't want to see. These are weak brakes. Wow. Brakes are weak, gentlemen. So what are we doing here? We're stopping right up there. You see the stop point on the orange mark on the map here? That is where we're stopping, or on the HUD. We are now under the 15, a little earlier than the sign on the HUD, you might notice. It's based on where the sign was on the map. That's where it started. So the HUD is not properly lined up. Good to know. I mean, it's still a decent route, even without those little HUD errors, but... or even with them, I should say. So by the time we actually are allowed to come to a stop, we're going to have the whole train past the entrance to the siding. So you're going to notice that's the front of the train, of course. This is the back of the train, which is marked still as the front, because again, everything's still in reverse. Notice we're still on line 1, or whatever you want to call that. There's the light post or something. So now it's going to cross onto line 2, and as we then get this on line 2, then it will also cross onto line 3. Notice, by the way, the road. The road ends there. Interesting way to end a service road. Let's get back in the cab as we, well actually we'll get in the cab in just a second because I want to be prepared for our stop. Notice we're now off onto the extra track, so we're good in the yard now. We want to come to a stop for this gentleman. Let's get a little closer just to be realistic. Okay, we're going to get ourselves up. If we can come to a stop, please. Come to a stop. Okay, we're going to get out of the cab and talk to this guy as soon as we stop. Here we go. Where's the door? Door's right there. Okay, out we come. Come down the stairs. Okay. Hey, nice day here, isn't it? Where do you want this? What should I do with this thing? Got a nice big long train here. What do you want me to do? What am I doing with this? Nice truck, by the way. What do we do? Come on, tell me. I need you to head right to the top of the yard and add these to the head of road number 3402. Tracks are clear to run through the yard. Okay, let's, whoops, didn't we go through him? But let's get back up the stairs. Let's go back in the cab. Dunk. And, there we go. So, he says that we're clear to go through. Let's just check this before we, to our train. Let's just check this, because if we follow the tracks here, we're going to go through Whitefish 3410 East. That's what he suggested. We're going to do that. He then said we're going to go through Whitefish 3410 West, which is the next stop. It's just not showing up. There it is. We're going to stop down here. But to stop down here, what is this track going to do? This track is pushing us through... You lie. You're not pushing us to the end of the yard. You're pushing us back on the main track, which you should not be. That is an error. So we're going to change that to make sure we don't get screwed over. That siding should be long enough. Looks like it might just barely be long enough. Let's bring the HUD back up and get ourselves moving again. Yes, we have to turn the bell on, ladies and gentlemen. So we're not going to go on those left tracks there, which would put us completely off course. That's the train, by the way. I didn't get you the number of it in time, but we'll turn around and take a look in a second. Actually, we'll see it from back here, probably. No, we won't. Let's go up here. There it was. WHIHMN 91 is the train. Those tracks that we did not take, by the way, let's make sure we don't go too fast here. Those tracks we did not take, by the way, if we went down there, we would have actually... You're kidding me. We could have actually found our way to 3402 on those tracks. You didn't let us go that way. Actually, no, never mind, never mind. This other track was blocked anyway. We wouldn't have been able to. Never mind. We're fine. We're good. We could not have done anything other than this route. So we're good. Carry on. Good job, sir. Good day. We're passing some log cars here. We're passing a tanker. Looks like a liquid tanker. Some other cars. Looks like some box cars. All sorts of different designs. They certainly did try to give some varied freight in the Mirage Pass route, which is nice because it's a good long route with lots of scenario potential. There's a reason why this is the most popular US route on the workshop. There is a reason. It's probably because of the variety of equipment, and just going to a route like Sherman Hill, you can take some of this equipment to Sherman Hill as well, or to another route. Even some of this could even go to Stevens Pass, perhaps. I think that's a BNSF area too, obviously. That's why it's BNSF locked with trains in it. So, yeah, you can definitely see why this was a popular route, and the fact that we lost all the stock basically left room for all sorts of third-party creators to come in with other BNSF content. So now DTG is going to need to get the market back for BNSF, which might be a little hard because Searchlight Simulations did recently put out a their own BNSF train, and it is getting a lot of praise. So this is going to be a challenge for DTG now to maintain the BNSF market now that they've got it back. But right now there's a lot of excited people who want to get certain routes and certain assets that they couldn't get before. So at least in the short term, that's going to prove really well. And if they can put out some good new BNSF content on top of that, then it's going to look really good for them. And it's the top railroad in North America, by far. So in terms of money and things like that. So they had to get BNSF back. They had no choice. You don't have a good US train simulator experience without BNSF. You just do not. You just do not. Proceed through the west end of the yard until you are clear of the ladder track, then set your switches to reverse into Whitefish 3402. Okay. You didn't have to put me, you could have allowed me to go on the main track though, but I guess that's blocked because the route is closed from that point onwards. I need to break again. You can see we're on a 0.3% gradient. That's why we were gaining just a slight amount of speed. So I got ourselves back down to just above 14. And we're going to be able to proceed a little bit further. As I get into the other unmarked siding that I'm going to have to make my way into, that's where the fun is really going to begin, because we have to make sure we don't hit the end of the siding. So we're going to try and make a mark of where our junction track is compared to the signal that would otherwise allow us onto the track. There's a signal before that. That's the signal that you see on the HUD right now. That's currently a yellow signal while we are coming. There will be another signal that is not going to appear behind that because we've now moved off that track. So let me just show you what I mean. If I were to go over to this and switch it, if I switch it back over, you're going to notice now there's two signals right there next to each other. But when I switch that off, the only signal that's going to appear is that yellow signal. So we know that yellow signal is the one we're after. We have to We actually have to calculate where that signal is, and a little bit further back is where our yard entrance is going to be, right here. And you can see the one for 3402 is set. We're going to have to set this line to head back in the yard like that. Something like that. That's what we're going to have to do eventually, but not yet. We're just coming along right now along here. So we're going to veer off this track, which ends up ahead. We cannot reach our destination from that track. Here are all those little sidings on the west side of the yard now. You can see the track end up ahead. We should be able to stop comfortably with a lot of time here. So you notice that the track junctioning off into the pair of tracks that includes 3402 is that last one that joins. So let's see where that is on the HUD as we come past that switch indication. We're still a little ways before the signal, not very much. So we know if we get the end of the signal, we're going to be good. That's where the red signal would have stopped us. That track there is junctioned against us. If we continue, that's the end of the scenario. In terms of a losing operation, we would lose a scenario. You lose! Good day, sir! Never a prop referencing Willy Wonka. Of course, the other option is solemnly swearing that you are up to no good by junctioning the train against you. That, you know, no good. No good. You're up to no good. Lower the speed a little bit here. But we're not ready to stop yet, I don't believe, because the back of the train is still coming across. But as you see, we're going to go ahead and just slow it down a little bit here. We should be past our switch in time. So here's the front of the train. There's the end of the track. If we check up here, almost there. I might need to go just slightly further. So I'm going to go ahead and go a little further. Should be good now. So now that we are gaining some speed in the opposite direction, we should cross the track we want to cross. Let's get enough speed and then I'll show you what we're doing. That'll do for now. So you can see what we're doing. We're now going into the backyard here. That blue line does take us to the second line from the bottom, which is the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Let's fix this, shall we? Stop. 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 That is wrong. That is completely wrong. Completely wrong. Completely wrong. Stop. Stop. You go back in this direction now. Boy, good thing I checked. We're halfway into the wrong siding now. We kind of went a little too far. We want to go on the one above that. So, that was wrong. That was a mistake. That's the one I want to change. So now we're going to watch for the train to leave the siding here and then we're going to have to come to a stop again. So basically we're going to do exactly what we did before. Pull all the way up to the siding. End of the siding. Let's stop gaining speed so we don't run into the thing. But we have to wait for all these cars to come out now. That was sloppy. I knew something was wrong as soon as I noticed that was only the second one. I'm like, that's not right. That is not right. I knew immediately. This is why you're given an hour. We're not past yet. We gotta go one more. So basically right back where we were before. As you were, gentlemen. As you were. And there we go. That's what we wanted to do. Gave myself a little too much room and I did it wrong, obviously. So that happens. That happened. So now that we're going in the correct direction, we're going to pull into, what I was trying to say before is we're going to pull into this blue line. This blue line, as you see, if you stay on the third, now the second from the bottom, it shows you that this is indeed 3402. And if you keep going, you're going to notice the blue line eventually shows that we're continuing here, which we don't need to go this far. There's plenty of space, but you can, theoretically. We're having a hard time getting speed here. What gives? What gives? This will be enough speed for our journey. So the track coming in from the other siding, way back there. That other track coming in was this track. That track is now the... And now we're going to have the other track coming in. So let's go ahead and set this sign back because we want to be appropriate. We want to leave everything as we found it, you know? There we go. Everything's now as we found it. And once we finish backing up a little bit further, once again, I'm going to leave everything as we found it. There we go. Everything's as we found it. We can come to a stop anytime. We're already rolling to a stop even without the brakes, so you know, you might as well just accelerate at some point, right? We're going to go back a little bit just to be fair. I'm going to turn that damn bell off at this point. Even going to turn the wipers off at this point. No point being that off anymore. We're not going forward anymore. Leave the brakes on, engine off. Let's look at the train as we finish. I noticed I forgot to turn the headlights off, so there we go. Problem solved. So we're done here. That's the end of the Lumberjack scenario, and we're going to have one more scenario before we get into the Christmas scenario. So duty complete, good job. Stay tuned next time for the Shelby Green scenario. And then I think after that one is where we're going to throw the Christmas scenario, because we're going to be too close to Christmas to try to finish Mariah's Pass. These other 2 scenarios are going to have to come at a later time. I'll talk about that in the next video, I believe. So in the meantime, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more Mariah's Pass and some holiday stuff. In the meantime, I'm Cyclone, and you can also join the Discord and support on Patreon if you wish. Not required, definitely appreciated. Have a wonderful day, evening, or night, whatever it is for you, your part of the world. This is Train Simulator 2022, and I will see you next time for more. I'm Cyclone. Bye-bye.